Life Money Monday panel. Now, we have something super exciting to talk about today. But before we do that, I want to hear where you're from. So in the comments, just put it out there. Yeah, thanks, Trisha. So if you can share it everywhere, get everybody tagged who needs to be tagged in this. So we're running a competition, and I'm going to tell you exactly how you can enter that in a moment. But first of all, I want to know where you are. I want to know where in the world you are. If you're in England, tell me the city as well and what's going on in the place. I've been speaking to people all over the world lately, and some people are totally free to be able to go out and do what they want, and that is not what is happening for me. I don't know if it's happening for you at this moment in time. So please do share with us, where are you watching it from? And what is the current situation? And then we got some announcements for you as well. But first of all, let me tell you how you can enter a competition so you can win some real life merchandise. Now, what we could even do, in fact, what I am going to do, the link will be in here so you can see at some point later and get yourself some merchandise here. So we got coats, hoodies, we got even phone cases, coats, blankets, or anything. But if you want to be in for a chance to win this for free, then all you need to do is share this on your timeline, and then all you need to do is tag 10 people. Now, if you are in the real life tribe, you will need to tag 10 people in the real life tribe and out as well. And then if you're here at the end, we're going to call on you if you hit all of those criteria. And then if you're here and you can still comment and let us know that you're here to receive your prize, then you will be the winner. So make sure you start doing that, and make sure you start sharing it, Trisha, or where these places where it needs to be. So couple of announcements, because we're going to be talking about business, how to grow your business, how to be in these current times, how to make pivots. And we got some super interesting insight that you're going to have access to on today's episode. But before we get into that, those people that are wanting to get registered for the up-and-coming events that we have, the links will be in a comment, because we got some free training, but also we got a 3-day virtual training coming up in April. Can you believe, like, we're in March already? And time is just flying. And for some people, maybe time is even passing us by. But what is not going to change is the amount of opportunity that is out there for you, because it's always an opportunity. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you this week one of our panel members, which is Nick James, which, oh my goodness, we're going to get the insight in how to definitely pivot. I'm sure we've got a story or two how Nick has pivoted over the last 12 months with all the ins and outs of what's going on in the industry and what's going on for a whole other bunch of people as well, when we were struck with something that nobody could have predicted, or maybe they could, I'm not sure. Yeah, but definitely the mainstream, we didn't know what was going on. So Nick, you have founded many things under the Expert Empires brands. We got masterminds, there's events, there's bringing people together, so with one view, really, isn't it? And that's to help people, Nick. So thank you so much for being on here. I'm looking forward to this discussion.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Thanks for having me. Yeah, pleased to be here and sharing from my office in Birmingham on a Monday evening. Good to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Good. It's a pleasure. So Nick, just tell us a bit about yourself in terms of, like, what's been your journey up until today, like just the main touch points, so people can get firing some questions, so they can get the insight and the help that they may need to just take them to the next phase of their life.
Yeah, of course. So I'll try and do this as briefly as possible. You don't want me banging on for ages about my life story, but the brief timeline. I was very fortunate. At 12 years of age, got invited by my mum to go to a Tony Robbins seminar in Hawaii.
Wow.
Most kids don't get those kind of opportunities. So I do count myself very, very lucky. I do think you make your own luck to an extent, but, you know, most 12 girls don't get those opportunities. And I spent my teenage years and my early 20s traveling all over the world, US, Australia, all over Europe, initially attending these personal development, events, learning about mastering your mind and your emotions and the physical body and all of these different things, which were, like I say, very, very fortunate to learn that at such a young age. And in the kind of back end of my teenage years and early 20s, actually started working within Tony Robbins' organization at his events. So really learn up close and personal what it took to run a world-class events business. So it kind of meant that it was a logical step for me to enter that arena myself, to start running my own seminars, workshops. I actually went and worked for a London-based events company, NLP training company, in my early 20s for about 18 months, learned a bit more about sales and marketing and speaking and really how to start and grow and scale a business, because I hadn't really learned that element from my time around the Tony Robbins scene, and started my first business in 2009. Ran my first event late 2009. We got 8 people to turn up. Fast forward to today, we've had thousands, probably kicking on 100,000, I'm going to guess, people through the doors at various different events over that time. Biggest event in 2019, we had over 1,400 people paid, attended one of our live conferences. So yeah, those are the areas that I've probably got most experiences in: events, as you said, Mark, in running coaching businesses, workshop-based businesses, masterminds, group coaching programs, some online marketing, online products and service sales as well, but mostly the live events business is really where I've built my various different businesses over the years.
Awesome. Now, a lot of people in our tribe, we call it the Real Life Tribe, they're building their property empires. Yeah. And I know that you have had the fortunate experience of having so many different touch points with so many different types of businesses. We were just discussing before, like principles, of the business are very similar or even the same if we boil it down to a few principles that business that comes down to.
Yes.
So like, one of the things I want to ask here is when it comes to business, I mean, the first question before I kind of go into my real question is, from what you've seen, are people doing better in business, growing their businesses more effectively when they are having fun or when they are super serious about it?
Oh, that's a good question. I wasn't expecting that question. You kind of caught me off guard. I think, look, like anything, it's never black and white. I think if you're super, super serious and you don't really have fun or enjoy what you do, the likelihood of you doing that at a high level long term is slim, would be my opinion. I think there's probably exceptions, but in most cases. That said, if all you're focused on is how can I have as much fun as possible and enjoy myself, but there isn't any serious element, then I think that's probably a dangerous place to put yourself. So funnily enough, I don't know if this was the reason for the question, but my company, limited company, is actually called Seriously Fun Business Limited. So I don't know if that was the reason for your question or it's just by sheer coincidence that you asked that. But the reason I created the company under that name was because I really believe that those two things fused together are partly one of, not the only, but part of the secret to it really is to I certainly in my younger years put a lot more emphasis on fun. Didn't take it all that seriously, and that on a number of occasions kind of got me into hot water where I wasn't really, I wasn't head down on the finances and I wasn't taking care of that side of the business. But I do think that, if you're not careful, you can end up just running a business for the sake of making ends meet and for turning profit. And if you don't enjoy it, you don't have some fun, it doesn't really meet your needs. The likelihood of you wanting to do that and being passionate about doing it long term are pretty slim.
Yeah, well, definitely. I always like that term when I've seen it banning around for many years, Seriously Fun Business and the events that we'll put around that. But also, based on my experience too, is what's this whole thing around, or do we need to be super serious? Like some people might call it corporate, like, I gotta, like, hey, we're gonna have this, do this. And or almost like, I gotta motivate people to, stay on the edge of their seat so they're doing something, versus actually inspiring people through, hey, this is fun, it's pleasurable, there's lots of joy and freedom here. And like, which side of that coin is where the most of the successful people are? So like, what have you seen the most? Have you seen more success from people who are super serious, or have you seen more success from the people who are really enjoying themselves and having fun?
Yeah, well, look, I can only base the answer, Mark, and I'm not going to sit on the fence, even though I really could on this one. I've got to say, I've been very fortunate over my life since I was 12 years of age to be around a lot of highly successful people. I think that in itself has probably been my biggest advantage, really. But I've got to say, I'm yet to meet anybody who achieved success and sustained it long term that wasn't having fun and enjoying themselves. I'm yet to meet anybody. So I do think that if you were pushing me to go on one side of the coin, I think I'd have to go on you got to enjoy it. You got to do something you're passionate about. It's got to fulfill you and meet your needs. And as I've already said, if you take your eye off the ball and you don't take care of the serious side of things, then I think that's a dangerous place to be. What I will say is that serious does not have to mean corporate. So like, you use the word corporate. We are like so not corporate in our companies. It's not even funny. So like, it's not uncommon. My head of sales today, he's going to hate me for saying this, rolled in like a tracksuit and sliders. Like, that was his attire today. So we are like completely the opposite of corporate. But that said, we take what we do very seriously. So like, he will, I'm still here now, but like, he was like the last person to leave before me. He's been leading his team of salespeople, and he's been on the phone himself today, drilling the phone, bringing the sales in, because he takes his responsibility as really the person that drives revenue primarily in the businesses. He takes that very seriously. So look, I think creating a culture, creating a vibe that is, I really believe that any business is a reflection of the founder, of the owner in most cases. And I think that's probably the case with us. The environment, how it looks and feels, is very aligned with my personality and the things that I enjoy. You can't see here. Well, you can see behind me, I've got my collection part of my collection of football shirts, but like, over here in front of me, we've got a pool table, and to my side here, we've got a dartboard. And like, this is the environment that I would love to spend time in. Forget work for a second. This is the kind of environment I'd like to be in. So I think you've got to create the business. I really suggest and would encourage people to build a business in your own vision of what great looks like, what an environment feels like, what fun looks like. Because if you're not going to enjoy it, then ultimately you're probably not going to really show up and drive it forward consistently. That's been my experience.
Yeah, well, because what I see in business in general, but let's just talk about property investing for a moment, is a lot of people want to get into property investing, and they're all asking these questions on how do I learn and what videos do I watch and all the rest of it. And the truth is, you got to get in the game. So you got to find a way to actually be doing the activity, which is finding the deals, honing in your strategy, and get in the field, get on the field of play, let's say. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then so many people, they kind of go super serious on it. And when the challenges come, when the difficulties, when things might not be going, let's say, their way, then that's when most people really start to cause themselves some issues in life. And then it's the blaming and it's complaining and it's justifying and all of that stuff. And I'm just using one example, but this happens all over the place. So I'm going to have to say I'm a strong voter for having fun and having joy, because but then the other side of it is, what is serious? Is serious? I've got to be on top of the numbers, because At the end of the day. Or here's the next question. The next question is that what you kind of said, okay, you got to have fun if it's going to be sustainable, but you got to be serious and take care of things, because you can't just let things, float around and not deliver results. So is it a case where is it possible to still be on top of all those things while you're having fun?
Yeah, of course it is. And I think you've got to find a way to make it like, look, I'm, as you can probably tell, big sports fan. And so, look, I would have loved to have been a professional sports person. There wasn't a sport in particular I excelled at. I was okay at everything, but never brilliant at anything, if that makes sense. And in business and in running events and in being a speaker, I found something that I don't know, maybe this sounds a bit arrogant, but I feel like I'm world class at. And I feel like I can win that game consistently. Does it mean I win every time? No. Do I have setbacks? Yes, of course. But for me, it's a game. And I enjoy the wins and I hate losing, of course. And so it feels like a sport to me. Yes, Gamal, I am a Brummie. Thanks for noticing. I've just noticed one of the comments, someone saying Brummie. Yeah, I'm representing the West Midlands. Come on. So I think for me, it is a game. But at the same time, like, again, big football fan, you look at the best teams in the world or the best sports people in the world, they take it very, very seriously. I'm sure they enjoy what they do as well. They take it very, very seriously. So I think you've got to, as I said, I think it's that balance. And for me, like, even I've learned to fall in love with and find the fun in some of the things that I didn't really enjoy before. So I was always early in my career, never really paid that much attention to the numbers and the financials in the business. But now I kind of see that like a bit of a game. I go, well, how can we win here? And, I'll be filling in our forecasts and doing the budgets for the year and setting our goals for the year financially, and then working out and getting creative how we can achieve those. I see it like a game. And I think, if you can create, it depends. You've got to be self-aware enough to know what stimulates you, what excites you, what does it for you. And for me, because I'm a big sports fan, if I can make business look and feel like a game of sport, then I'm more likely to put the work in, put the effort in, stick at it. Frankly, pissed off when things don't go my way. But in the same way that I am on the golf course, by the way, love golf, I'm okay. And I hate losing. I hate it when it doesn't go my way. But that obsessive need and desire to win is what gets me back the next day or the next week to play golf again. So I think it's about understanding yourself and knowing what makes you tick. And I know that I'm a fiercely competitive person, and that works to motivate me. And so same thing, if that resonates, by the way, you're watching this and you're in property investing, or you want to get into property investing and you're like me, very competitive, then set yourself up. Get yourself around people. Here would be another piece of advice. If you are fiercely competitive, start investing alongside other people who are at the same stage as you are, and almost make it like a healthy competition to see who can achieve most fastest. By the way, this might not ring true for you at all. You might not in any way, shape or form feel like you're that competitive kind of person. In that case, you got to find other ways of making it enjoyable for you, making it motivating for you, making it so that when the tough times happen, which they inevitably will, if you do, anybody who has any degree of success in business has, without a shadow of a doubt, had more than a few hiccups, bumps in the road, challenges, problems, big issues sometimes show up. And so I suppose what makes it easier to overcome those when they show up is that, in my case, it's that fierce competitiveness. It's the desire to win. For other people, it might be like you've got this vision of what you're going to create for your family, or it might be, you've set yourself a goal of a place you want to visit, or something you want to buy, or whatever it is. You just got to find a way to make. You got to be. I think the key, first and foremost, is to be self-aware enough to know what makes you tick and how you're going to get the best out of yourself.
That's it. So let's do some market research. So guys, if you're watching this and you're watching it live, put a hashtag live. If you're watching on the replay, put a hashtag replay, but put in the comments right now and just be honest if you're brave enough to be. Yeah. Are you having fun in, or what areas are you having fun? Are you you're in a job and you're investing in property on the side and you're looking to switch over? So which one are you having fun in? Both? None? One or the other? So let us know. Put it in the comments now and tell us, like, what areas of the life or business are you or are you not having fun in?
And by the way, Mark, I'm gonna chip in with something here which might not be popular given the audience that we have here. I don't have, like, my fun scale. If like a 10 out of 10 for fun is watching my sons, I've got two boys, they're 8 and 11. If my 10 out of 10 is watching them play football or taking them to the driving range and hitting golf balls or whatever, investing in property is like a 0 for me. But that doesn't mean that I don't think it's a good idea. So I tend to opt for the hands-off investing approach. Whereas like building my businesses and running events, that is like a 10 out of 10 fun factor for me. So I put my time and energy into the areas that I'm world class at and that I enjoy most and that I find most fun. And then other areas, like I do think that investing in property is a very smart, savvy move. So all of my property investing activity is hands off. I partner with somebody else who's got by the way, got a lot more expertise than I have in this area. Enjoys it. It's like a 10 out of 10 fun factor for him. So I have him do the investing on my behalf. I just bring the money to the table. So I think you've got to look at your own, what you love, what you're good at, what you enjoy, what motivates you, what drives you, what you're world class at. You got to look at all of this and then decide where to spend your time, which is why for me, I didn't invest in property for years because I just didn't have the desire to get into it. Or I didn't see it as fun or something that I really wanted to do. And then I got to the point where I went, actually, I'm an idiot for not going into property sooner. So, and around this time, perfectly, I met this guy who already had a long and successful career doing this. And he was like, hey, we'll just partner. So I'll do the investing, you bring the funds, which is exactly what we've done. And on the flip side, of course, I can help him in the area that I'm better at, because I've got more experience in helping him build his expert business. So we've kind of formed a bit of a partnership in that respect. So yeah, as Trisha says here in the comments, property is just a vehicle, and I really see it as that. I go, right, and I don't really know how to drive that vehicle in the best way possible. So I found somebody else that does. And you might be watching this and you might go, well, actually, this property to me, finding the deals, like refurbing, tenanting, whatever model you're using, that might represent fun to you, in which case, great, you should be doing it yourself. By the way, I saw Gurmail, I think it was, asked me what part of Birmingham I'm in. I'm in Solihull, just on the outskirts of Birmingham. In fact, it's quite quiet at the moment, but sometimes when I'm doing a podcast or a video, you hear a plane go over the office because we're right next to Birmingham Airport, just on the outskirts of Solihull.
Awesome. So that's dead right. How do you apply yourself? And that's what's good about property. You found your way to get into it and making it fun for yourself. And there are so many different angles and so many different ways to come at it to have it fun. Some people love finding deals. Some people love raising the money. Some people love bringing their own money. Some people love just doing the projects. Some people love tarting the property up at the end, that kind of stuff. So, having a team, being part of a team and just making sure that it's all fun is super important. So I think we're leaning, well, Nick's leaning, I'm totally on the side of, fun. Only fun allowed. But so if that's the case, so if it's more scalable, because obviously if you're having fun, you're going to attract more people who's going to want to work with you, be in your team and grow with you. So if this is the case, there's more scalability, there's more sustainable success, then why is it that people don't have fun?
I think a lot of time people don't give themselves permission to have fun. Like there seems, and I don't know where this came from, like it's not real, but I think there seems to be like a belief that, you know, not everybody has, but I think in our society, largely the belief is that building businesses, building wealth has to be hard work, you know, and it, you know, in a way, if you're enjoying it too much, it's not real work. And I'm not sure that's completely untrue, but I'm not sure it's as true as people believe it to be. I think the idea of the harder you work, the more money you make, unfortunately, that is just not true. But I think that is the way that our society is programmed. People are brought up to believe that if you're going to have success in business, in a career, it's hard work. And hard work a lot of time means not fun. And I think actually when you look at some of the most successful people in the world, you realize that actually they're the ones that are working hardest and having the most fun. And of course, you know, the old adage, which is true, is if you do something you love, then you'll never work a day in your life. So I think it's about what is work and what does that word really mean, and what is fun and what does that word really mean.
Yeah, good point. What is work? Yeah, what is work? So,
by the way, for some people, work, there are some people on this planet that work is playing golf. They get paid to do it. There's some people on this planet that work is playing football. There's some people on this planet that work is dancing. There's some people on this planet that work is the thing that a lot of other people would look at and go, like, they do that for fun. When they get the opportunity to not work, they choose to do that with their time. So why wouldn't you choose to find a way to make that pay you instead?
So what you're saying is, when you're doing the thing that's paying you money and you would do it for free, that's when you found that's when you found what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, and of course the caveat to that is you got to be smart enough and self-aware enough to realize what you're really good at. I would love to get paid what I get paid now for playing golf, but that was never going to happen. I reached a certain stage where I was like, I love playing, I'm okay, but the gap between my ability and my desire to build wealth was too big to bridge. Or at least that was my belief, and maybe that was my own limiting belief, but anyone that's played golf with me would probably nod and agree. Whereas, you know, when I looked at starting, growing, scaling, building an events business, I'm like, well, actually, I already know most of what it's going to take to do this at a world-class level, because I've been fortunate to be around it since I was a kid. I already have contacts and connections with most of the people in the UK industry that I'm going to need to know in order to give me an advantage to get me started. And I love doing it. So that just seemed like the smartest move.
Awesome. Okay, good. So what is it people can do to have more fun? I mean, we've touched on it a little bit, but like, there's two sides to it. What can people do to have more fun? Because obviously that's the get up and go. Because at the end of the day, eventually, if people are not having fun, let's face it, they're going to either slow down or stop what it is that they're doing. Yeah. So in this kind of, like you say, this conditioning, or there's this, you know, society says that, you know, it has to be serious. And I've worked in businesses where they are hardcore nailing down on, hey, you know, what are you doing? Get on with your job kind of attitude, which just has no longevity in it. So what can people do? Number one, in their business themselves, or number two, if they're in a position where they're not having fun, because I know people, they hold on so tightly to maybe their certainty or security. But so what can these type of people do so they can go out and have more fun?
Yeah, I think when if you're building a business, especially if you're fortunate enough to have built a business to a size or a stage where you can afford to bring people in and build a team, I think, like you said, Mark, you could like be super, super serious and be like a slave driver. But I think if you go that route, my experience is that the best people will ultimately leave, because they will seek a more fulfilling environment. And the reason why, I like to create a fun, an enjoyable environment, culture for people to work in, is because it helps me to attract the best people. Like, it's not a coincidence. We've not got, I suppose it depends on your perspective. We've got 21 people full-time in our team working in-house. Some of them working remote at the moment for obvious reasons, but under normal circumstances, 21 people working full-time in our offices. And like, I can honestly say the team that I've built is world-class. Like, our sales team is world-class at selling and closing deals. Our marketing team is world-class at running marketing campaigns. Our customer experience team is world-class at creating an amazing experience for our clients. And I believe we've managed to build that team because we've created a world-class environment where those kind of people want to work. Because, by the way, world-class people have got choices. World-class people have got the choice to pretty much, within reason, work anywhere they want, because there'll always be space in any great company for world-class people. So the question is, if you want to attract world-class people, you've got to create an environment that they want to operate and work in. You've got to create a culture that they know will challenge them and will have them thrive. So I think, first of all, if you're building a business and you want to attract great people in, you use the word fun, Mark, and of course that can have different meanings for different people. For me, it's about creating an environment that is enjoyable to be in, whatever that means to you. And then I think, the other part of your question, which is what can people, if somebody's not having fun in their business, in their life, what can they do? I think you've got to look at, I think a large part of it, and again, maybe this is me looking through my own filter, if you like. For me, it's all about who you're spending your time with. Like, I am like the worst person in the world on my own, in my own company. I just don't like my own company. I get bored really, really quickly. So, like, the opposite of fun for me would be, like, the last year has been an absolute disaster for me, because the opposite of fun for me is being left on my own all the time. I hate it. I need people. I need to be around people. So, and again, that might not be the case for everyone. You might be watching this and going, actually, I'm a natural introvert. I like my own company. In which case, your version of fun might be different. So I think you've just got to be the first key, I've already said it, the first key is self-awareness, to go, what is it that makes you tick and that makes you enjoy, your business or your life? And, it's not a coincidence that for me, it's being around great people. And by the way, a lot of the people that work in my team are like my friends. Like, we were friends before they started working with me. And so, like, the definition of fun for me is spending time with people that I love hanging out with. So I go, well, if I can build a team of people and every single day I'm hanging out with people that I would choose to spend time with, business aside, because I love spending time with them, they're great to hang out with, that to me is that's fun. So I think for me, it was a decision to build a team and a company. Other people, by the way, and there's nothing wrong with this, like the idea of having 21 staff or 50 staff or 100 staff is like, some people can't think of anything worse, because that's not their natural style. So you've got to think about I think you've just got to work out, be self-aware enough to go, what does fun mean to you? Like, an exercise you could do is you go, right, if the next week of my life, if I could have the most fun possible in the business that you're in, for a bit of context, in the business you're in, what would that week look like? What would you be doing day in, day out? And then look to design the business that gives you those needs met.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people will struggle with that. And I've got some more questions, and I want to kind of quick fire some at you, because we've got plenty more questions to go through. Just before we do that, I just want to remind everybody there's a competition where you can run into real life merchandise. What you need to do is share this on your timeline, and you need to tag 10 people. Now, if you're in the real life tribe, you've got to tag 10 people in and out of the tribe. Yeah. And then if you're here at the end, we're going to call your name. We're going to pick somebody through our randomization picker, and which you'll see what that is. And then that person will win. Yeah. So, and also, by the way, if you want to have some fun and you want to learn business, and the vehicle that you want to choose is property investing, there's been a link which I've seen was put in there, which is actually for free training next week. So it's totally free, a couple of hours, probably less than a couple of hours. And we're going to show you how to actually have fun. And actually, during that training, there is some footage that we use as part of training, which will show you seriously how fun it is. Yeah, you like that? Seriously, how fun it can be just to succeed. I mean, I'm not talking about property. I mean, it is property training, but I'm just talking about life, building, business, your interactions, your relationships, everything that you want to do. Yeah. So if you were to like narrow it down, Nick, just into a few basic principles, like what is or what makes business a success?
Yeah, I think aside from everything we've already spoken about, I think how you can ensure you build a successful business is a few key principles. One is, I think you have to have you have to first of all define what success is. So you've got to have a vision of success means X in annual revenue, this number of clients, this much profit, whatever. You got to decide what success means, because otherwise, how can you achieve it?
Mm-hmm.
Then I think the next bit, which is where I think a lot of people do that first bit fairly well. Not all, but some people, most people start a business, they have some degree of aim or target or something they want to achieve. The next bit is to then go, right, so if, let's say for argument's sake, you were starting a business from scratch, regardless of whether it's a property business or something else. And let's say, right, your goal is I want to generate income. So like, depending on what business you're in, but let's call it profit of £100,000 a year. Right. If that's the goal, that's what success looks like, £100,000 a year. Then the next phase is to go, right, if we want to create £100,000 a year in income, what do the key priorities need to be? Where do I need to focus my attention? Where do I need to invest my money? Where do I need to put my resources? So you get clear on what the maybe 3 big priorities are that are going to enable you to achieve that goal, that vision. Then you go, right, if those are my 3 priorities, how do I measure success in those areas? So you've gone from like having a big goal called 100,000 in income over the course of a year to the next stage is then what are the measurables? So you might work out that in order to do 100,000 a year, you might need to build your property portfolio to, I don't know, depending on what strategy you're using. Let's say you need to build a property portfolio of 30 properties at a certain value. So then you go, right, if I know I need to build a property portfolio of 30 properties, now I need to look at how do I go and source 30 properties. So you kind of go, you start off with the end in mind, the big picture, and then you chunk it down into smaller steps. So really what I'm talking about here is how do you turn the vision, the big picture, into day-to-day activities. So the vision, the big picture, you then go, right, what are my 3 priorities? And how do I measure success in those 3 different areas? So you might have, in our business, we normally have priorities around marketing. We have priorities around sales. We have priorities around building our team. We have priorities around client success. So we have all these different priorities and how we measure success in those areas. And then from there you go, right, so if those are the priorities for the next 3 months, let's say, what do I need to focus on, or what do we need to focus on today, this week? And that's how you decide upon the actions day in, day out. And the problem a lot of people have, I think, is they sit down at their computer on a Monday morning and go, right, what am I going to do this week? And it's not, the decision they make or the action they take bears no resemblance to the goal they've set of, let's say, 100,000 a year in income. So you have to start off with the big picture and then do strategic planning to work out what am I doing here and now today. It's what, again, if you've followed Gary Vaynerchuk at all, Gary Vaynerchuk spoke at our first Expert Empires event in 2017. He calls this clouds and dirt. It's like big picture thinking, vision, and like day-to-day tactical, roll your sleeves up and get it done, clouds and dirt. So I think for me, that's when I learned that, well, that alone was the difference between me having a £250,000, £300,000 a year business and a 7-figure, now multi-7-figure business. just learning that I've just shared with you. So for me, that's probably, of everything, those are the key principles that I'd probably start with first.
Good. Because even with that, I think, like you say, define success. And I think you're right. Most people, they kind of get that, or at least in the direction of it. You know, people are going to say, I want to turn over this much, I want to make this much money, or whatever it is. But now in the aim, again, going back to this whole fun, having joy, you know, happiness, people want the lifestyle. I've seen it in the comments already, you know, people who want to invest in property, they're like, I want this financial freedom and all of this stuff. Okay, so what does that look like for you? So so I think what people are doing is they're setting these monetary targets. But let's face it, like, let's say you get to 100,000, but like, what does that actually mean? You know, is it a case of I want to be able to build a team of people that I love working with, I love spending time with. I want to have seriously awesome fun around events that we do, or whatever our business is, investing in properties. I also want to have team building activities. I want to, be able to, hire more people and grow the team so we can do whatever we're doing on a bigger scale, so we can raise the standard of living for society on a bigger scale with more people, more fun. And to do that, we need to make the 100,000.
Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned that, because I suppose there are, to dive into the vision bit first, the big picture bit, it's not just a monetary figure, although that might be it for you. But for me, the vision is made up of three key things. It's, first of all, what's the purpose of your business? Why do you exist? So the purpose of our business is we develop people. So the way we do that is through bringing new people into our team and training and coaching and developing them. How we do that is by recruiting people into our mastermind programs. So through our mastermind programs, we develop people, we train them, we coach them, we mentor them. We develop people by giving them a great experience in our events. So everything we do helps us to meet our purpose, called we develop people. That's the first part. First part of the vision is the purpose. The second part is then the mission, which is now where we're getting more measurable. So we measure it by three key metrics: revenue, number of tickets sold, and number of clients served. Those are our three metrics. But of course, you'd have different ones depending on what kind of business you're in. So you might have number of properties, you might have monthly cash flow, you might have different metrics that you use. And then the third piece of vision is values. What are the standards that you hold yourself to, your team to? How do you operate day in, day out? Like, how do you make decisions? What's the process for that? And your values, the things that are most important to you, are going to be the guide for you to make decisions and for you to work out how to grow. So for me, though, really the vision, the big picture, is a combination of those three things. Yes, there's some measurable bits in there, but part of it is like, so one of our values is we bring energy and fun. That's one of our values. We've got 7. That's one of them. And so, like, if that's one of our core values and we're living it every day, then we have to create an environment that is conducive to energy and fun, because we've decided that's a standard that we're holding. So I do think it is certainly more than just setting a financial goal. There's a lot more to it than that, and I could spend days talking about this subject, to be honest, Mark.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. So, but let's touch on this bit about developing people.
Yeah,
I'm a big believer in any business that I've been in, created many businesses from total scratch, and I've been in businesses that I've already kind of formed, failing, and come in and train, consulted, and turn them around. And developing people is ultimately the only thing that's ever needed to be done in a business, because they are a business. Yeah. So what's your view on people and how they train in their business, and what training should they be doing, how often, or that type of thing?
Yeah, I think are you on about employees here or team members within?
Yeah, I'm talking about both. I'm talking about how do you train your team? How should people be training their team? What type of training should they go to? And also, let's talk about how is it affected from people being able to meet up and do trainings, board meetings, bringing all their teams together, now doing things virtually. How's that all happened?
I think first of all, let me say that I think most companies massively under-train their teams, massively.
Yes.
And I think if they invested more time, energy, resource, money in training and developing their people, they'd have much more successful businesses. So that said, I think then you've got to look at your team, you've got to look at your people, and you've got to look at developing, yes, their skill set to do their job, but also their mindset. And it's the two together. So, you know, a lot of companies, you know, you recruit somebody into your marketing team and you put them through some training on how to set up and run Facebook ads. That's going to help them to do their job better. But my argument would be that if, when that training, that, you know, the tasks that they've been set when it comes to running Facebook ads, when they hit bumps in the road, when they have problems, when all of a sudden the thing that they were taught doesn't work, what they'll fall back on is their mindset. And if their mindset isn't strong enough to go, okay, this isn't working, so who can I involve that can help me turn this around? Or what else do I need to learn? Or who can I turn to within the team, outside the team? If they've got that mindset of possibility and looking for areas to improve versus, oh, that didn't work. Well, you know, it's not my fault the training didn't work. That is going to have a massive impact on the experience they have as a member of your team, and also on the results they get in your business, and therefore the results you get overall. So I think you've got to look to train your team members consistently. And I think you've got to look at both skill set and mindset. It can't just be one or the other. I think most companies focused on skill set rather than mindset. And even then, most don't even train skill set enough. So we put quite a large emphasis on training, coaching, mentoring, developing our team. And of course, you know, we are a training company. That's what we do. And so, you know, that's a massive focus for us to be delivering the best, the most consistent training, coaching, mentoring we possibly can for our clients as well. But I just don't think that a business can grow any faster than the people within it do.
For sure. No way. No, without a shadow of a doubt. And like you say, I think people need to take that bit more seriously. Yeah, I'll put a little bit more fun and joy into that area, because there's so many businesses that I was involved in. And I remember being like a shareholder on the board of this company, and I was like training people every day. Yeah. And for like, let's say like in a corporate industry, like that's like, what are you doing? Get people on their job. Like they need to be doing the work and all the rest of it. Yep. But at the end of the day, they're the vehicle. They are the vehicle of the business. They are the business. And that you know, those technical skills that you talk about and the skill set, absolutely, yes, very important. But without the right mindset and without the personal development, without what I like to call like the transformational work, because what transformation means, they have to become something more, you know? So someone don't go from managing, you know, let's talk about your example of Facebook advertising. Imagine managing £10,000 to £1 million of budget, you know, because of the same person, or because their skill set changed. Not because their skill set changed.
Oh, by the way, and if their money mindset, since the title of this session is Money Monday, if that person's money mindset is seriously limited, they will fail in that role. No matter how much skill set training you give them, they will. Well, I'm not saying they'll fail. It will massively hold them back in that role. So now you've got mindset around money as well as mindset around other things. And I really think that success in business is not just about understanding business. It's certainly about understanding people. And I do think that one of the things that we put a lot of emphasis on is that the people who are in our team and our clients as well, to be fair, our clients, let's say, we'll talk about those, they come to us because they want to grow their business. And so, of course, we give them marketing training and sales training, and we coach them and support them. But like when somebody who's a client of ours is having problems in their marriage, our coaches work with them on that. Now, that is not in our remit, really. But I know that if somebody's having problems in their marriage, it's probably going to have a detrimental impact on their results in business as well, because they're not going to have their head in the game. So I feel like it's our duty to support them in their relationships, their health and wellness, so that we can deliver the result they actually want in the first. That's why they purchased one of our mastermind programs or came to one of our events, is because they want a better result in their business. But we have to deliver on all fronts in order to be able to deliver on that front.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the strong reason behind that is there isn't any problems in business. There's not any problems in your Facebook advertising. There's not even any problems in your relationship. There are only personal problems that reflect in all of those different areas. Yeah. And so like to be a part of our team, like one of our kind of core values and principles that we all live by must be that they are involved in personal development, training, and coaching on a regular basis, not just, I was onboarded and I got trained, like on a regular basis. And they must immerse themselves in all of our training materials as well. Because with that personal aspect of it, they have to become somebody different.
Yeah.
That technical skill set only goes so far. And I tell you the difference is loads of people want to invest in property. They want to find deals. They want to raise finance, right? And I hear the story over and over again. I lost the deal because I couldn't raise the money. Now, we have a 3-day virtual event, right? And over these 3 days, it's a mixture of the technical aspect, but we want you to win and succeed. So we also train them on the personal, which I like to call the transformational, because someone has to become different. If you wasn't the person that was raising money before, or finding the deals or making it work, then it's not because the deals are not there. It's not because the step-by-step, because that information's out there for free online. If you just want to know, this is the steps, this is the technical steps to take, it's out there for free. Yeah. You can read it out of a book, but like the execution is from the vehicle of the person on that personal development. And we go through that training and we change them. The last one we just did, we got people, and some of these people, by the way, total beginners, never even know what raising finance was, let alone that they can do property with none of their own money. And in a 40-minute exercise, we raised over £1.2 million. Now, I don't think people take it serious enough to say, or they have enough fun in the area of training, because number one, they don't know how to train. Number two, they think school. So you see, people say education system. I don't think it's the education system. I think it's the schooling system. Because the real education is to pull out of the person. The word education actually comes from the word educe, which means to draw out, which schooling doesn't do. It's the opposite of that. In fact, they just cram in and just pile on top of. Like you say, if you got a problem in your marriage, you can't just pile, hey, learn more about Facebook advertising. Yeah, learn more about this. Yeah, learn more about that. Come on, yeah, got to make it work. I mean, that's not going to work. You have to pull out and figure out what's going on. And I think, and I'm super passionate about it, which is why I refuse to go in that, or not that I need to anymore, but like when I was training and I was finding myself in business, there was a point where I don't want to train people in corporate anymore, because they're only there because they're told to be there, rather than people who show up at like your events and our events. They actually want to be there because they're going to pay money on their own time and make arrangements to be there. So I think that's a super important thing that you touch on around personal development, personal coaching, and taking care of them that way as well. So it's been so amazing. I have a couple more questions to ask you.
Cool.
Yeah, but we will be wrapping this up. But these questions are super important, if not the most important questions. Yeah. So thank you for being here so far, Nick, and thank you for everyone on here watching it. Don't forget to put hashtag live if you're watching it live, or hashtag replay if you're watching it on the replay. So we want to know if you're asking any questions. We need to know if you're on the replay or not. So the first question is, we've narrowed it down through our randomizer selection process. The winner here. So we've narrowed it down to 2 people. So Nick, you have to pick either.
Oh, you can't do that to me.
Yeah, you have to pick number 1 or 2.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you didn't say you got to pick this person or this person. I was going to feel really bad. 1 or 2? Okay, 2. 2.
So the winner, but they have to be here, but I've seen a comment recently, so they probably are, is Aidan Gale. Aidan Gale. So if you're here and you comment right now, you are the winner, and somebody will be in contact with you to see what it is that you want from the Real Life Merchandise site and get that out to you ASAP. So do comment that there. do comment that. So Nick, it's been amazing to have you on here. I think it's some great insight, and I think the insight that's been covered tonight again is so important, but yet so simple that so many people will just overlook it, you know, and not comprehend, like, hey, how do I actually put that into my business? You know, so I think people definitely need to show up to your events. They need to show up to any events, you know. I mean, we do events as well. Come to our events if you want to come to our events, but I think you got to do something. Yeah. So if people want to come to the next event and learn from you, Nick, what do they need to do?
Yeah, cool. Everything that we do, you can find out more at expertempires.com. So that's our main website. You can see, you know, all about our Expert Empires Global event, which is coming up on the 14th and 15th of April, which is the next major event we're doing. You can find out all about our mastermind programs as well. So yeah, head over to expertempires.com and yeah, check out everything we're doing.
Awesome. Excellent job. So yeah, I recommend people, you know, they immerse themselves in real education from real teachers who are going through the process themselves and in the business and in the thick of it and doing whatever it is that, you know, they're training you to do. So that's absolutely super important. So I have one more question for you, Nick. This is the most important question to us as a team and us as a network. And that the question is this. Yeah, we can never, ever let people forget that they have got to do the right thing for the right reason. Now, why is that?
They've got to do the right thing for the right reason. Why is that? I have no idea. Is this a trick question? Am I supposed to know the answer? Are you just asking for my opinion? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just asking you. I'm asking you as a question. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think for me, like, the right reason is going to be different for everyone, right? And the right thing is going to be different for everyone. But ultimately, for me, the right reason to do anything is because it makes you and it makes other people happy. So yeah, that's going to be my thinking on the right thing is anything that makes you and other people happy, that serves the greater good.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much. And that's why I ask for your opinion, because everybody always answers very differently. But if you could just do us a favor so we can close this week's episode out, because we have a saying, and now people are starting to put it in the comments. We have a saying that is, you got to do the right thing for the right reason, because that is the only way that you're going to discover your true potential. Can you say that for us?
You got to do the right thing for the right reason, because that is the only way you're going to discover your true potential.
Yes, thank you so much, Nick. It's been awesome having you here. Great pleasure to get all this insight out to the people and help you on your mission and your journey. Like you say, improving people, helping people. So thank you so much. Thank you for everyone that's joined us this evening. We will see you next time.
Cool. Thanks, Mark.